you didn't believe really that the data that we're seeing on business reports was accurate.
The issue that I noticed was that I was seeing clicks being higher than number of page views. So from there, we realized that there is something going on. This is causing a big discrepancy between the unit session percentage that we see from business report with what the real unit sessions are.
So you had basically, like, let's say I had 100 orders, I would show 100 orders and 50 sessions, but the reality is maybe I had 100 sessions and 100 orders. The conversion rate was inflated or not real. Liran Hirschkorn here, along with Mansoor Nurazi on the E-commerce Mindset podcast. In this episode, Mansoor and I are going to talk about some of the new things that have shown up on Amazon recently, including updates to the business reports data. There's mobile data now. We're going to talk about some new things in brand analytics, like session search query performance that is there, and also talk about some of the ways that we're managing Amazon advertising. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you'll notice that this episode is also going to be on our YouTube channel. So we're recording this with video as well. I think the video version can also be viewed on the podcast, especially on Spotify and Apple. I think you'll be able to watch it there as well. And the podcast, as always, is sponsored by Incrementum Digital. Incrementum Digital is our Amazon marketing agency. We help brands scale their business on Amazon using the power of Amazon advertising, as well as helping to optimize listings. And the podcast is also sponsored by 8Fig. 8Fig.co is your solution for growth capital, along with supply chain planning tools. You can check out incrementumdigital.com and 8Fig.co. And with that, we're going to jump right into to the episode. Mansoor, how are you?
I'm doing great and excited to do this.
Yeah, this is awesome. I find so for those of you that don't know, I think a lot of you probably already know Mansoor. For those of you that don't know, Mansoor is our director of Amazon advertising at Incrementum Digital. He is an Amazon ninja, and I think one of the best minds when it comes to Amazon PPC. So I'm super excited to have him on. I would say, like, I have a very good idea of strategy and vision of how I want to do things. And Mansoor has a lot of technical knowledge, on the weekends. His hobby is to build stuff with Python and a little bit of coding, and has a lot of deep technical knowledge. So super excited to have you on. And I want to do these kind of regular updates with you, and then with some other people on our team, where we go on video and YouTube and our podcast and talk about all things Amazon. So really excited to have you on. So maybe we'll jump right into the sessions data, business reports sessions data on Amazon. So before we talk about the new update, you made a post and did some inquiries with Amazon, like maybe going back like a month, where you sort of didn't believe really that the data that we're seeing on business reports was accurate. So maybe give a little bit of a background to what you inquired about and what was the current state of the sessions.
Sure. So the issue that I noticed was that by comparing from campaign dashboard for the products and campaigns that we have with business report, I was seeing clicks being higher than number of page views, not sessions. We know sessions are unique based on the customers, but the number of clicks for each product was higher than page views that we were seeing in business report. And I checked few accounts. I was like, maybe there's a bug or something. So I checked few accounts and I realized that seems like this is across the board. From there, our first kind of impression was that probably PPC is not included. So I started communicating with the Seller Central. The first answer that I got was from one of their representatives. It was that the PPC page views and impression sessions are not included in the business report. So I kept like communicating to make this more clear. Then I got another answer from another representative that the mobile sessions are not included. So from there, we realized that there is something going on, and this is causing a like big discrepancy between the unit session percentage that we see from business report with what the real unit sessions are. Because you see the total, so you have the total sales that being generated for your products in the business report, but the sessions that we have there, it is not real. It is like kind of maybe 40-50% of the sessions that you are seeing.
So you had basically, like, let's say I had 100 orders, I would show 100 orders and 50 sessions, but the reality is maybe I had 100 sessions and 100 orders.
Exactly.
So the conversion rate was or inflated or not real, higher conversion rate because all the orders were there, but with showing a lot less sessions. And so and the way Amazon calculates the unit session percentages, it also is based on the orders. So if somebody has 2 orders in one session, that also inflates the conversion rate as well. But in this case, the sessions, a lot of the sessions were not there. You said 40-50%, but sometimes we're seeing now with mobile, it's like 60%, of the sessions are coming from mobile.
And actually, there is something else that was an indication for this. If you go to your campaign manager, there's a brand metric dashboard there. And the brand metric shows your customer engagement rate. That customer engagement rate was really different from what you see from unit session percentage. For instance, you go, even if you have one product in a specific niche, in a brand metric, you might see your customer engagement rate is 4%, but the same unit session percentage or conversion rate in business support is 15%. So it showed that there is something going on here. Otherwise, these numbers should be pretty close.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we'll talk about more about some of the changes, but if you asked me in the past, what's a good conversion rate on Amazon, I might tell you, hey, 20 to 40%. If you ask me, somebody posted in a Facebook group this week, like what should be a good conversion rate, and my answer was 10%. And the reason is because I think our idea of what conversion rates were like on Amazon was just wrong based on the session. So
right.
Sort of magically, I don't know, can we say maybe Amazon made these changes because you sent them an email? I don't know, but sort of magically, we in the last couple of weeks, we saw mobile sessions appear on the business reports.
Yes, they appear, and kind of I think both PPC and mobile sessions, like it was a combination of both. What I realized that probably even the PPC sessions from mobile wasn't included. So we see our sessions kind of doubled, our unit session percentage drastically went down. And I saw many posts on Facebook that like sellers saying, what happened to our unit session percentage? We are seeing like decrease in that, what is happening? What is the issue with my product?
Right.
So kind of they had this feeling that their product has an issue, but no, in reality, it was just now you are seeing the conversion rate that it is more real, closer to the reality.
Yeah. So do you think now people should and can rely on that data for their conversion rates?
They could, but I would say there are a few other sessions still not included. One of them is that any view from your store page, still those sessions are not included in your business report. So if you have a sponsored brand, headline ad, customers clicking, going to your store page, those sessions are not included in the business report.
Why do you think that is? Because they don't end up seeing the detail page?
Well, they do actually at the end of the day, because from your store, you're going and seeing the detail
right.
page.
I thought you might be referring if they go to the store and they don't end up clicking the into the product. But you're saying even if they go from sponsored brand ad to the storefront, click on the product and go to
It's
the,
not, from my understanding, it's not included. The other thing which is not included, I saw that in on Amazon documents, it is browse node. So my understanding is that if a customer searches for something and kind of they filter, they go to the browse node, those sessions are not included. It doesn't happen that much.
right.
I would say unit session percentage in business report, no, it's not 100% correct, but it is 80% close to the reality that you could see.
Right. It's now much closer. I mean, it's interesting because, in the past, maybe I had this like false idea because, we used to look at the PPC conversion rates on keywords, and we would see, 6%, 7% conversion rates. And then we would go to the business to the business reports, and we would see, 20% conversion rates. And, I guess the way I justified it is I would say, well, it seems like sponsored product, when people click on that, the conversion rates are different. The reality, that's really the conversion rates, right? Like
Yes.
actually, if you look at the keywords in your PPC and you kind of take an average of your sessions, your traffic, which Amazon, because you're paying, Amazon gives you their very accurate data around your conversion rates. That's really your real especially sponsored products, because sponsored products is exactly the same native way that people are shopping on Amazon. It's not any different than, sponsored brand that looks different than a regular product listing. So if your sponsored products, especially on keywords, if you're seeing 5%, 6% conversion rates, and in unit session percentage, you would see 10%, 15%, it's likely that the reality is it's closer to what your PPC conversion rates actually are. And
Yes,
why?
absolutely. And sorry, I want to add
Yeah.
something here I didn't mention about business report is that if you have a consumable product, you have to keep in mind subscribe and save is not, the sessions are not included in business report. So you might see again that difference between
Yes. So the
CRS,
orders, are there, but not the sessions,
not
right?
the
There
sessions.
was not the sessions. So if you have a high repeat purchase rate on a product, if you have a supplement, and we would see this, we would see supplements showing, 90% conversion rates, 100% conversion rates. Again, that's not the reality of when people are searching on Amazon, finding your product, they're not converting 100% of the time. And it's going to be more inflated if you're getting, repeat, whether it's subscribe and save or, maybe if people are, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if people go back to like a product they bought through searching their orders. I don't know, probably maybe there it does count, but subscribe and save, like automated purchases, don't show up on the session. So again, there it's inflated. So one of the most accurate places you can really find conversion rates is your PPC data. However, the data now in business reports is a lot more accurate than it was before. It's a good time for you to go back now, look at your data for the last maybe a couple of weeks since this came out, and understand really which of your products need to improve. And again, my feeling is that the bar has been lowered in what is a good conversion rate on Amazon, because again, I think before, I would say 10% is like bare minimum, and good is like 15, 20% plus. Today, I would say different. I think you're going to see a lot of people with 7 to 12% conversion rates, which is still incredible when you think about conversion rates on Shopify, for example, that are 1 to 5% at most. 1 to 3% is more common. And also, when we drive external traffic from Google into Amazon, we're seeing about 2 to 4% conversion rate. So, traffic on Amazon is, extremely high quality traffic with buying intent, and 10% I think is still awesome, but I think people were used to seeing, much higher conversion rates. Now we've also seen some new metrics in brand analytics. If you go into your brand analytics dashboard, you'll see on top this kind of green button that says search query performance. And if you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, we'll be adding in some of the images so you can see this and what it looks like. What did Amazon add here, and what is the benefit to somebody from kind of viewing this data?
So we have two dashboards there. One is search catalog performance, and the second one is the search query performance. First, I want to go over what the source of this data is. This is coming from just search result pages. So customers come in, clicking, searching for a product. Any impression, clicks, sales generated from that. And one thing that you have to keep in mind, this just includes organic and sponsored product, sponsored brand, video, headline ads, it's not included there. Also, if you have a badge like those highly rated or editorial recommendation, or I would say top rated product, they are not included in the impression. So those ones are not included. And it is great that shows you the whole kind of sales funnel for a product and for a keyword. For example, if you are searching for, let's say, chalk marker, and you're clicking on a product, if you purchase the same product and add to cart the same product, you see in search catalog, you would see one sales. But if you are purchasing the variants, you won't see the sales attributed to that product. So it shows you from the beginning of search, customer searching for your product and ending up buying that product.
So in theory, if I have a t-shirt with 10 colors and 5 sizes, it's not going to be as valuable to me necessarily, because it's very common somebody would click on and whatever variation shows up on the search page and buy a different variation, right? So in those cases, this data won't be as valuable.
It won't be, but if you have one product, this is really valuable because it shows I believe it shows the best conversion rate that we could see from customer searching to purchasing. There is no other things there. So you could see that exact conversion rate. And also if your variants are kind of not close, not like something like shirts,
right?
It's a good indication of how they are performing compared to each other, right? And also the impression that you see for each product, it shows the impressions that you are getting on the search result pages. So it could show you how is your presence on Amazon, like for the whole keywords.
Right. And basically these are the only purchases that show up here are purchases that happen within a 24-hour period, right?
Within 24 hours.
So unlike, PPC data that you have a longer attribution window, here it's only 24 hours. The other interesting thing that you'll see here is you'll see your add to carts and purchases. So, I don't think there's really anything you could do necessarily about that, but you will see sort of where people drop off along the way, in the funnel. It's very common on Amazon that the way people shop is when they see something they like, they might add it to cart as sort of like save this for later. I see my wife doing it all the time. Like when I go and I want to buy something, there's like 4 other things in the cart. And then I'll ask my wife like, hey, do you want to buy these? Or be like, well, no, just add save for later. Right. Like, or sometimes she'll say, yeah, I had it in my cart. You can like, add it to the checkout. So I think that's part of the way people shop. I don't think there's necessarily much you can do to there's no abandoned checkout cart emails for Amazon, although it'd be pretty awesome if Amazon if you could do that. But you can see that data of like where you're losing people along the way in the funnel.
Something that I realize we might be able to use that is sometimes we have variants and we don't want to advertise all of them for many reasons. This data is a great resource for you to decide which variant is the best or which variants are the best to advertise your campaign instead of going with all of your products. So you could see the impression, because that impression shows you okay, this seems like this product has more probably organic visibility, right?
Mhm.
And also you see the conversion rate there. It can help you to decide the variants that you could advertise. If you have variants that they are pretty close, it's a great resource to decide about that.
Why is that? I guess my question would be, why is that better than just seeing the sort of ACOS across? Let's say I advertise all the variants. Why is
Uh,
that better
it's a good
metric?
question because when you're talking about ACOS, you have to realize that from PPC, when customers click on your product and they purchase the product, yes, you are attributing that ACOS to this product, but in reality, you don't know which variant they purchased, right?
Right.
They might click on one product and purchase other variant, but the sales gets attributed to this product. There are reports on campaign dashboard that you can see what they are people that are purchasing. But my point being is that just looking at the ACOS doesn't mean that product performing good, because maybe
Right.
80% of the sales of
Right.
clicking on the products goes to other variants.
Right. So okay, so I understand. So the reason why this data is better is because the PPC data is could be attributing the ACOS not to the variant that was purchased. And the data in the search query is really showing you from search to clicking on that particular product
Exactly.
what the conversion rate is. So you have a better idea. It's actually more accurate than looking at ACOS to see which variant actually converts the best.
The best.
Yeah. So okay. So that's great. That's super interesting. So you have two sort of tabs there, right? You have the search, you have the catalog performance, and then you have
Search
another
query.
one,
Search
search
query
query,
performance.
search query and catalog performance. So we're talking about the catalog performance now. What's in the search query performance?
Search query performance, it is, I love this. It is really good. It shows you, first of all, it shows you 1,000, I guess, I'm not sure about that, 1,000 of the search terms that you're ranking for and the data for those terms. It shows the rank of like kind of sorts those search terms based on rank. I'm not sure how you're ranking it. It's based on few KPIs, but you have the search volume of the keyword
Mhm.
and exact search volume. We never had this before anywhere on Amazon. Yes, we had with Helium 10, with Jungle Spot, but now Amazon gives you the search volume for the exact term.
Right.
Then
And unlike the product opportunity explorer, which we'll talk about, gives you like a 90-day data, this actually gives you
weekly data,
weekly
yes.
data, the most recent. So like really you can track. I hope there are software tools that are going to pick this up and track the trends of the real weekly data.
And with product opportunity dashboard, you might get like not this many search terms. Usually I see for a niche, you might see based on the niche, you might see 12 to 15 keywords or more based on the niche. But here you have access to thousands of search terms and the search volume. First of all, it's a great place if you are looking for product. It's a great place to do product research, to see what people are searching for and see the real search volume. And also, actually, what I was doing here is that let me go back to what KPIs we have. It shows
Yeah.
the impressions that you are get your brand getting for these search terms and the impression of the whole market. It shows you the clicks of your brand, clicks of the whole market, and what is your share of the market for clicks, and also add to cart and purchase, right? Actually, I have a meeting with a brand after this call. What I did, I downloaded this report for, I think, for 8 to 10 weeks, and now for different search terms, I'm looking at this purchase share to see how we did. Is our purchase share, sales share going up or down? Where we need to focus more, where we are losing, where we are gaining. So it gives you a great idea on where you should focus.
Right. Which products are focused if you're starting to lose a market share essentially, right? So you can investigate, is there somebody new in the market? Did somebody cut their price? What are the things that are happening that are causing us to kind of lose market share?
Yeah, and it is interesting. This is a very well-known brand. They decided to decrease their spend on many branded terms, or maybe I think from 100% we went to 40% spent, PPC
Mhm.
spent over a month. Now it's going to be interesting to see what did we lose, or no, maybe we didn't. Like for many of the terms that I was checking, yes, they are ranking organically very well. I realized that they are not losing that much sales share. In some terms, we lost. So it's a good indication that let's increase the spend for those
Right.
terms.
Right.
We are not losing, so we are being more effective with PPC.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things that we see sometimes people are using different software, different tools is definitely and more because of how Amazon is prioritizing advertising is that PPC does cannibalize organic sales and can cannibalize organic sales, especially if you are ranked, especially, yeah, if you're being super aggressive on branded and you own, like in this case, this brand has many products. So they have, what people use is the term share of voice. They have a high percentage of the share of voice on the page, right? Meaning share of voice means when somebody searches for something, what percentage of the listings on the page do you own, right? So if if you search Lego, right? I would be surprised if Lego didn't have 90 to 100% share of voice on the page because they have so many products. Maybe somebody else can sneak in an ad in there or something, right? But probably 90% plus is going to be Lego products on the page. Should they really run an ad on Lego? Will somebody else be able to really steal market share away from Lego? Will like a private label Lego brand be able to steal a customer away from Lego? I don't know, probably not, or probably a low percentage, right? So, but when you search Lego, they do have ads all over the page. Maybe they're cannibalizing some of their sales, right? I imagine they are cannibalizing some of their sales. It would be a good experiment. Or what we talk a lot about, and Mansoor has brought up this idea to a lot of brands, is that don't feature your most popular products that are already ranking well organically in positions 1, 2, 3, 4 in the top sponsored brand spot and the top ad spot. Feature your new products, your things that you really want to get people's attention to that are not showing up right at the top of the page for branded searches. And that also helps minimize the cannibalization of advertising to organic. One of the things I'm seeing more and more is, PPC is a higher percentage of people's sales than it was, a year to two ago. I would say 2 years ago, I would have said if PPC sales are more than 40-45% of your sales, it's like red flag. Today, I can't say the same thing because, there's so many, organic just gets pushed down in so many ways, not just from ads, but from, editorials and, other things. I saw something pop up the other day that said highly rated, like discounted or something like that, and it was not an ad, but it was like positioning just for products that have high quality and high review count and lower price, for example. So things are definitely changing. Let's touch on the product opportunity explorer, maybe give people a little bit of an overview. This came out I believe sometime last year already, but there have been some updates to the product opportunity explorer. You can find this in Seller Central under growth. What does this show you? Why did Amazon create this section in Seller Central?
So it is under growth product opportunity explorer. What is interesting about this is that you could search any niche that you are in or you want to do the research. It shows you the search volume for last year. It shows you what is the trend for the search volume compared from last year compared to previous year. And if you go inside the niche, it shows you all the products that getting 80% of the market, the share of the market. So you could see all those products. If you are uh, among those products, you can see the click counts that you are getting from the whole market, right? What is interesting about this? It is not in search term. For example, right now I'm looking at dog vitamins. It shows the whole market of dog vitamins and what products getting what click share of the whole market. It is pretty great for, first of all, kind of product research to see how saturated, how difficult the market is. And also, you could see the search terms for that niche, and you have the search volume for the keywords that you have there. Now, one thing that we have here, and it is new, it is the trend of the niche. What is interesting about this is that it doesn't show you the trend for one search term or two search term. It shows you the trend of the whole niche and whole
which
market.
which is important because search term traffic changes sometimes, like based on the Amazon auto suggest, right? So, I may be searching for a a crib, for example, for a baby, and that has a lot of search volume, but then Amazon starts showing, um, crib for babies, and in the auto suggest, suddenly people start clicking on that, and now the search volume just moved. It didn't change really, but it moved from crib to crib for babies, right? So the market stayed the same, but if I just looked at crib, I would say, wait, what happened here? Where did the search volume go? And I would need to investigate that. Here I see a better view of what's happening really on sort of the top search terms, really in the entire market, what's happening, if it's trending up or if it's trending down, and really can help you understand, like, I had somebody who came to us and said, hey, I'm firing my agency because, it's been a year and my sales are the same. And the first thing I say when people come to us with that is, is it really the agency's fault? Because we don't want to take an account where, it's not the agency's fault and we're going to take it over and not be able to make improvements. And it's not a good experience for us or our client. And so I looked at the market, and just most of the keywords, the search volume was just down from the previous year. And I showed it. So it's really important to understand what's happening in the market overall. Especially, you saw a lot of this, COVID, post-COVID, right? Like, all the people who had, fitness products that were, 2021 was like one of the first years that people had a down year over the previous year. And it's really because of the COVID bump that products had. And you could say, what's wrong with my listing? Or you could say, what's happening in the market, to understand what's going on in the market. And actually, there's maybe nothing wrong with your listing. It's just that people bought all the kettlebells, they could buy already last year, and there's not as much demand for it this year, right? So that's what you can better understand there.
Yes, that's a great point. And actually, for me, like anytime I see a problem with a product, the first thing is that I go to this dashboard and I'm looking at the trend. Maybe the whole market, like it's kind of seasonal, or you see few months, the whole market demand goes down, which is a great place to check that. And I also use this for some bigger brands. It can show you that what is your click share of the whole market, right? We had a brand that we use this to say, you have, for example, in this niche, 6 products that are among those 80% products, and your click share of the whole market is, for instance, 30%. So it is a great place to see where you are standing compared to whole market with all the products that you have. You shouldn't just look at this. You have to take this to for example, Google Sheets, do some calculation, but it can give you great insights of where you stand.
Yeah, and the trends component is a new component to the product opportunity explorer. So something that you should definitely check out. Amazon looks like is just releasing more and more and more and more data. Let's touch on one last thing. We started to do a beta test on intraday data with Amazon. I previously spoke a little bit about this on a podcast, and at the time it was new, and Amazon got word of it and asked us to actually remove it from the podcast. Thank you, Amazon, for listening to the podcast. Appreciate it. The podcast got shared around at Amazon, and then we got an email that said, "Hey, take it down." So I had to edit that part out. But now I think it's okay to talk about it. So we're doing a beta test actually on I think 6 of our clients. Let's talk a little bit about this. What is this intraday API that exists out there? Why is this valuable?
Well, what it shows you is that your hourly conversion rate, your sales, your ACOS, and you could get through API the hourly KPIs. So, for instance, you have a brand that you realize in certain hours on the weekend, our ACOS is a disaster. If we are at 30%, 35% ACOS, like for few hours on weekend, we get to 80%. And those few hours for the weekend causing the average ACOS to go from 35, interestingly, to 42.
Wow.
Now, yes, and this data helps us to understand and to see these trends so we can act on that, right? We don't have any way to control it yet, but what you could do with the softwares for now is just day parting and say, okay, for those hours, I want to decrease or I want to pause my campaigns or certain campaigns that causing this, we can pause them to see a better results, or you can test it. So yes, this is just the hourly results that you are seeing from.
The future of what's coming to our capabilities will be to have controls with this and to be able to say, reduce my budget, not just pause like day parting, which what is traditionally what day parting does. And traditionally, we didn't have this data to even make great decisions with day parting, which is why we didn't really use it. But now what we could do is we could say, drop my target ACOS, which means reduce my bids in this particular time from 35% to 20%. It means the bids will go down. I'll likely have less visibility, less impressions, and less negative impact on my ACOS, or I could just pause during that 2-hour time period and bring it back up. So I think what's interesting is that you might look at your advertising dashboard and see my cost per click is $1.75. The reality is your cost per click is not $1.75. Your average cost per click is $1.75. There are times where you might be paying $2.20. There are times you might be paying $1.30, and you're seeing your average cost per click. Your bid is your max cost per click, right? So you have your max cost per click, you have your actual cost per click, and you have your average. What Amazon is showing you right now in Seller Central is your average cost per click, and they are basically historically until now have only issued data a couple times a day. With the Intraday API, you're able to pull that data hourly. However, not all software tools currently have this, and not all software tools will show this to you because it also costs more money to store this hourly data. So I think eventually what will happen, depending on the software you have and how much you're paying, there may be additional fees for this, or if you're paying higher fees because you're spending more money and you're higher to your customer, you'll get access to this data. We're starting to get access to the data, which is very cool. And soon we will be able to make optimizations based on this data. So I think that's super exciting. Okay,
just to add a note here is that there is ad budget in the campaign setting as well. It is from Amazon itself. It is not there yet, but in some cases it might be useful, and you could schedule this. Actually, Amazon just has increasing the budget. But for instance, what you can do, you can put a baseline for your weekends if you want to decrease your budget on weekends, and say for every weekdays, increase my budget 80%. For weekends, your budget would be that baseline that you have put. So there is work around this, but not hourly. We don't have it, and I believe probably we are going to have that soon.
Yeah. So super exciting in terms of what's coming. A lot of updates to Amazon all the time. So Mansoor, I thought this was excellent. I think people are really going to like this. I'm hoping to do this on a regular basis with you, because there's just so much that comes out and changes on a regular basis. And it's I usually do the podcast with like guests, but more sort of just talking about around like a specific topic, but just talking about kind of what's happening, what we're seeing in the space on a regular basis, I think is awesome. And I hope people get a lot of value from the conversations, because, I find that it's while we live and breathe this, 24/7, other people have lives, it seems. And I'll talk to some very experienced sellers. Like I made a post about this, search query, for example. And a lot of people are like, a lot of good sellers like that I know that are, sell $5 million plus a year, commented like, on LinkedIn. I saw a comment from a really good seller, said, hey, where can I find this? So we hope to be the voice that can help, keep up to date with these changes for you. And then you can listen to the podcast and YouTube. And of course, there's many other good sources of information, but that this could be a good source of information for like what's new and what are the things you should be paying attention to, including the business reports and the sessions data, and everything we spoke about. So thought this was awesome. Looking forward to doing this again soon. And thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We'll see you on the next episode of the E-commerce Mindset podcast, and now on the Incrementum Digital YouTube channel.